Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is YOMA Daf Pei Hey. We begin on Pei Daled Amud Beis, 3 lines from the bottom. We're in the midst of a sugya of Pikuach Nefesh, which is Doiches Shabbos, and Shmuel told us a chiddush. Roiv, majority, doesn't really present a criterion when it comes to Pikuach Nefesh. Ein Hoichen B'Pikuach Nefesh Achar Roiv. So even if it's just a small, minute chance that a Yisrael is in trouble, you'll mechal Shabbos on his behalf. Says the Gemara 3 lines from the bottom, Umi Amar Shmuel Hachi, is that so? But Tanan, listen to this mission. Motzu Batinaik Mushlach. We have a city where there are Yisraelim living, Goyim living, and you find an abandoned baby. His identity is unknown. What is the law? How do you treat him? Like a Yisrael or a Goy? Im Roiv Kutim Kuti. Most residents in the town are Goyim, you assume he's a Goy. If in Rabbi Yisrael, Yisrael. Majority are Yisrael, you identify him as a Yisrael. Mechza Mechza Yisrael, if it's 50-50, there as well, we treat him like a Yisrael. V'marav lo yishanu. When we have a majority of Yisrael, we consider him like a Yisrael. That only pertains to Elalach Yosei, to support him, to provide his needs. The mitzvah, v'cheyachicha imcha. We assume that he's a Yisrael, we have to feed him. Aval when it comes to yichus, for instance, if she's a girl, her ability to marry a kohen, we can't really determine that she's a Yisrael. Rashi brings the Gemara in Kesubas, one more machmer. We need twice roiv. Most of the town have to be Yisraelim, and most of this particular neighborhood as well. Otherwise, we have to be chayshish, she's not a Yisrael, and even if she's mizgayer, a geyeris is not kosher for a kohen. So Rav says the halacha of roiv Yisraelim is a Yisrael, pertains to our chiyuv, to support him, supply him with his needs. U'shmuel amar lefakech of sagal. When most of the town are Yisraelim, we consider him as a Yisrael. That applies to the halacha of digging him out of the rubble on Shabbos. Apparently, says the Gemara, we follow the roiv formula when it comes to Pekuach Nefesh as well, even according to Shmuel. Look, he clearly says that only when it's roiv Yisrael, which allows us to identify this baby as a Yisrael as well, do we proceed on Shabbos. But otherwise, if it's 50-50, and certainly when it's mostly Kutiyim, and this child is most likely not a Yisrael, not machal Shabbos for him. Ki itma de Shmuel areisha itma. This statement of Shmuel was not in reference to the halacha of Roiv Yisraelim Yisrael. No, it was going back to the first case. Im Roiv Kutim Kuti. Mishnah says, if most residents were Goyim, this child is identified as a Goy. Amar Shmuel, Ule Inyan Pekuach Nefesh Einay Kain. We have one exception when it comes to saving a life. Even if Roiv are Goyim, you have to be Mefakeach the Gal, because we don't follow the Roiv criterion when it comes to Pekuach Nefesh. Tosfos brings a pasuk, V'chai bohem, V'l midarshem v'lo yishyamas bohem. Let's read the words of Tosfos inside on top. Hashem obligates us to look after the life of a Yid in any case. B'shum inyan. We have to ensure that he lives. So even if it's just a minute chance, 1 in a million, you're mechuyev to save him, even on Shabbos. Let's get back to the Mishnah. You find this abandoned child, and the Mishnah says, Im roiv kutim kuti. Most residents are goyim. We assume he is a goy as well. L'may hilchasa. What's the nafkamina? When it comes to saving him, we just said, even if it's roiv kutim, you have to treat him as a Yisrael. So what's the point of saying roiv kutim is a kuti? Amar papa lachila nevela. It's very simple. We are allowed to feed him something which is not kosher. As Rashi says, until he grows up and he becomes a Yid, if he chooses to do so. The Mishnah says, in roiv Yisrael, if most residents are Yisraelim, Yisrael, we assume this child is a Yisrael as well. L'may hilchasa. What's the point of mentioning this halacha? To feed him an avela? You can't do so even if it's just 50-50. So what's the point of saying that if it's Roiv Yisraelim, he's a Yisrael? And says the Gemara, Lahachshel Avidasa. If you find a lost item that belongs to him, if it's a Goyish item, you don't return it. You're not allowed to return it. Tosfos brings the Gemara. In Sanhedrin, you're not allowed to return Aveda to a Goy. But in this case, where it's Roiv Yisrael in town, we assume this child is to be identified as a Yisrael, and you go ahead and you return a lost item to him. The Mishnah says, Mechza Yisrael, 50-50. We assume that he's Yisrael as well. L'may hilchasa. What is the nafkamina here? What's the point of saying that Mechza Yisrael? Well, when it comes to feeding him an Avela, we just said only if it's Roiv Kutim we're allowed to. When it comes to returning an Aveda, only if it's Roiv Yisrael, we assume that he's Yisrael. So what's the nafkamina of saying 50-50? We consider him a Yisrael. Amar Shlagish Lin Zaken, pertaining to damages. Halacha is, if an ox, a shor belonging to Yisrael, gores his fellow Yisrael's ox. So if he's a shor tam, first and second time, 50% payment. If he's a habitual shor amud, he has to pay 100% of the damages. That's Yisrael to Yisrael. What if the Yisrael shor was negeach, shor of a guy, completely pater? Rabbi Kama says Hashem was mafkir their nechasim because they didn't keep their mitzvahs. If the shor of the goy is negeach shor shel Yisrael, in all circumstances he pays full damages, nedek shalom. This 50% arrangement, that's amongst Yisrael, amongst the Yisrael fraternity group. But a guy, why shouldn't he pay full amount? Of course, we're speaking that the Bezdin of Yisrael had complete authority to enforce these halachas. So that's halacha according to the Torah. We have a baby found in a city where it's 50-50. The Mishnah says he has the din of Yisrael pertaining to damages, meaning this unidentified fellow, when he grows up and he owns an ox and is involved in some sort of accident, you can't demand more from him than if he would have been a Yisrael, because you can't prove that he's not. Pertaining to damages, what are we speaking about? What's the case? If we're speaking that our ox gored his ox, so Yisrael was mazik this unidentified fellow, and perhaps in that case the Mishnah considers him a Yisrael, in which case he's entitled to collect damages. Well, Naisi Raya V'Nishkal, he has no right. Let him prove, let him verify his identity, let him confirm that he's Yisrael. He has to be a Raya to collect that money. Otherwise, why would the Yisrael have to pay him anything? He could just say, well, maybe you're not Jewish. Well, apparently we're speaking of the opposite took place. The Nakchi, Torah Didei, his shor was Negeach, who? The Torah Didan, to the shor of Yisrael. So, the shayla is as follows. On the chance that he's a guy, has to pay 100%. Full damages. On the chance that he's Yisrael, since it's just a shor tam, he pays 50%. Says the Mishnah, he has a full right to claim that he's Yisrael. You can't collect from him more than if he would be a Yisrael. Palgi Yarvle. So 50%, this unidentified fellow will have to pay the Yisrael. And he has to do in either case, whether he's Yisrael or not. Either Palgi regarding the other half, namely, this fellow can tell the Yisrael, look, I see a raya, bring your raya, you prove the law of Yisrael that I'm not Jewish, and collect the other half. Until he does that, all he has to pay is 50%. So in summary, when it's Reiv Kutim, we treat him like a goy, which means you can feed him an Avela. Reiv Yisrael, we treat him like a Yisrael, we do Hashavas Aveda. 50-50 pertaining to damages. And when it comes to Pekuach Nefesh, we concluded, in all cases, we don't take a chance. Ein hulchen b'Pekuach Nefesh achar Reiv. We follow through, even if it's just a minor chance that he's Yisrael. And regarding Lachiyos, that's a good shayla, regarding supporting him. At what point are you mechuyev to sustain him, support his needs? So Rav says, only when it's Reiv Yisrael. Only at that point. So we have to support him. Meaning when it comes to Pekuach Nefesh, So it's an acute situation. He's right here. He's in your hands. You have to save him. Then, in all cases, you have to save him. Even if it's Roiv Goyim. But when it comes to supporting him on a daily basis, says Rav, well, if you can safely assume that he's a Yisrael, you have a mitzvah. But otherwise, they don't go find sustenance elsewhere. There's no chiv to mechayim. However, according to Shmuel, as the Mefarshim point out, according to Shmuel, just as there's a chiv of a lefakech as hagal to save him from underneath the rubble, regardless of the percentage that's present, even if it's just a slight percentage, slight chance that he's Yisrael, you mechiv to save him, even though it's just a weak chance that he'll survive at all. Certainly, of course, there's a chiv lach yosei to supply his needs, to support him. It doesn't come to a situation where his life is in danger. It's a kolshkin. So that's an interesting machlekes between Rav and Shmuel. So in summary, he walks into the town, he finds an abandoned baby. Halacha is, if most in this town are going, we treat him like a kuti, which means we feed him in a vela. If it's mechza, he's treated like a Yisrael. So he only has to pay 50% damages to the Yisrael. If it's Rav Yisrael, we treat him like a Yisrael as well, regarding Hashavas Aved. So again, if it's Rav Kutim, we can feed him in a vela. We don't give him back an Aveda. And if his shor is negech the shor of Yisrael, he has to pay full damages. If it's mechza, we treat him like a Yisrael. You can't feed him in a vela. You're still not machzer Aveda. But if his shor was negech the shor of Yisrael, he can treat himself as a Yisrael and doesn't have to pay the other half. If it's Rav Yisrael in town, we consider this baby as a Yisrael. We can't feed him nevela. But machzer's aveda, and of course he doesn't pay any nezek sholim because he's treated like a Yisrael. Pikuach nefesh applies to all equally. There's a chiyuv to save him under all circumstances. Regarding lach yosei, we have an interesting discussion. According to Shmuel, in all cases the answer is yes. According to Rav, the only time there's a chiyuv lach yosei if it's Rav Yisrael. Continues the Gemara, Misha Nafal Al Vapilas. Misha describes a case where a building collapses, and there might be somebody underneath. And the Mishnah states three different uncertainties. Maybe he's there, maybe he's not, maybe he's alive. My kama, what does the Mishnah mean to say, Loi mebaya kama? Needless to say. Loi mebaya, needless to say. When it's Safek Usham, Safek Enisham, the uncertainty pertains to presence. We don't know. Somebody is walking by and the building collapsed. He might be there, might not be there. But if he's there, if he's really there, chayu, he's certainly alive. It just happened. Chances are he's alive. So needless to say that in that case, you go search for him, you dig him out. Ela afilu. So the Mishnah is progressing. One suffix on top of the other. It's a triple suffix at the end of the day, and still the halacha applies. Ela afilu suffix chay suffix meis. Even if there's another suffix on top of that one. So we don't know if he's there or not. And even if he's really there, it's been a while, it was a real big building, suffix chay suffix meis, we don't even know whether he's still alive. Mefakchen, you proceed. Here comes the third chiddush. V'lo miboy suffix chay suffix meis, the Yisrael. And needless to say, if this suffix pertains to Yisrael, who you know might be there. If there's somebody there, if he's alive, he's a Yisrael, you proceed. So not only that case, ela afilu, suffix kuti, suffix Yisrael, mefakchen. But even if you have another suffix on top of all that, you don't even know if he's Yisrael or not, we still proceed. We dig him out on Shabbos. The chiddush is, even when there's a triple suffix, perhaps somebody's there, perhaps not. Even if he's there, perhaps he didn't survive. And third of all, we don't even know whether he's Yisrael. We won't take any chances, and we won't fakech sagal even on Shabbos. Mishnah says, Matzu chay mefakchen. So you're digging and you discover him to be alive. You continue digging to get him out. Matzu chay? Pshita, of course you continue. What's the chiddush? The Chiddush, even when you know he's not going to really survive in the long term, you're still mechuyev to dig him out for temporary life. The life of a yid, even temporarily, has chashivas, and you continue doing this malacha to get him out. But if he's found to be mace, you leave him alone. Hanami pshita, of course. What else should you do? Why would you proceed? There's no point. The Chiddush applies to this sheet of Rabbi Yehuda. The sun, as we learned, there's a fire raging, and there's a mace in the way. Who's going to get affected by that fire? We don't allow you to take the mace away. He's muktzah. There's no point. Omer Rabbi Yehuda ben Lakish, Shemati Shematzilin as a mace, he disagrees. I heard a halacha that you can go ahead and drag the mace away in the face of a fire. So you can do muktzah to save him from a lake. So the chiddush is that this concept doesn't apply in our case of the mace discovered beneath the rubble. Even he would not advocate only in the case of the fire. There we allow muktzah, so that the mace is not affected by the fire. Why? Because we're concerned that if we prevent him from dragging away the mace, he might actually put out the fire, which is worse. Due to his anxiety, on account of his mace is lying there. If you don't allow him to drag the mace away, he might put out the fire, which is worse. It's a deraisa, so we allow muktzah in order to avoid a possible issa deraisa. He doesn't put out the fire in his anxious state. But in our case, where the mace is buried beneath a pile of stones, if you don't allow him to remove the mace, what's the worst thing that could happen? What could he do already? There's no justification for allowing removal of the stones when he's found to be a mace. So we're checking, and we discover this fellow, and we're going to see whether he's a mace or not. Doesn't look alive. We check his vital signs. Until what point in his body do we check to see where he's holding? Until his nostrils, until his nose. We will be able to detect whether there's some sort of breath coming out, which will indicate whether he's alive or not. You have to check until the heart. Check to see if there's a pulse. That's a true indicator of life. Now, Mason. So he's checking, he finds the upper layer, people that are mace. You shouldn't just assume that the people on bottom are dead as well. In fact, there was a masahaya, although the upper layer was found to be dead. Beneath them, we found alive people. Continues the Gemara. Perhaps this machlekes of where we're meant to be doidik. What is the true sign of life? The chaytim or the leiv, name Hanik Tanoi, Kihani Tanoi, is in line with the following machlekes Tanoim. What a similar machlekes regarding what is the focal point within one's body. What is the source of life? What is the starting point of creation? From where does the child begin to be formed? From his head. So Hashem, you formed me in my mother's womb. We find gizi nizrich pertaining to hair on one's head. So is referring to Hashem's creating me from my head. That's the first point of life. Life begins at the midpoint. That's where Hashem begins forming the fetus. Some say Tibura is the heart area. So there are really 2 points. There are 2 sort of aspects within a person. There's the brain, there's the intellectual aspect, and then there's the Evorei haguf, the heart which pumps blood throughout the body. The question is, what's the ikar? What's primary, what's secondary? Perhaps both get formed at the same time. The shal is, what's totally in what? Is it the head and the heart, or the heart and the head? So Bashal maintains mitiburi. That's the starting point. That's the source of life. That's where Hashem begins to form the child. It starts mitiburi, umishaleach sharoshav elach elach, and it spreads its roots in all directions. So we have machlekes. What's the ikar chaim? The head or the heart? Which seems to be consistent with the previous question regarding the chiv bedika. Under the gal, do we look for the heart, vital signs expressed in the heart, or vital signs expressed through one's nose, which is in the head area? Says no, it's not really totally in that. I feel tema b'shol, even Abba Shol, who says a starting point of life is tiburoi, he can agree, perhaps when it comes to being boidik, even to be boidik at the nostrils, because that's the ikar point of life. That's the malkaman neshama, and that provides life for the entire body. Afilu tema b'shol ad kan like amar b'shol hasam. It's only over there. We speak about the seder habriya. We speak about how the guf is formed. It's only over there where he says the tibur, the heart, the midpoint, intestines. That's the focal point. Elolini yitzir when it comes to forming the child. The chol midi mimtzi asei mitzer. Things are formed and created from their midpoint. So we're speaking about the creation of a body. Yeah, the midpoint of the body is the focal point. But when it comes to life, what sustains that body? Avalin pukoch nefesh, trying to determine whether this fellow is alive or not, trying to discern his sign of life. Afilu Abba Shol Moed, even he agrees. The ikar chiyusa ba'apihu. Life is discernible mainly ba'api, at the nose, at the nostrils. That's where the neshama is expressed. Chsiv koil asher nishmas ruach chayim. Where ba'apiv? Amar Papa. Although we speak about a machlekes of how to be boidik, nostrils, the heart, says our Papa, you meant to know machlekes mimata lamal. Machlekes applies to a case where he's checking mimata, starting at the lower portion of the body, going upward lamala. So first he arrives at the heart. He sees nothing. Detects no signs of life. One shita says, stop right there. Heart's not beating. It's over. The other shita says, no. The ikar chiyus is ba'apav, at the nose area, at the nostrils. Perhaps the vital signs coming out of the heart are very faint, not really discernible. Continue further to the ikar, to the source of life, to the neshama in the head, which perhaps you will discern by way of the ruach coming out of the nose. So that's the machlekes. Aval memala lamata. But if he's checking from the top of the body going downward, in that case, no machlekes. Why? Kiven the badak liat choytmei. Once he reaches the choytem, and there's no sign of life there, shuvei nitzarech. There's no need to proceed. He can determine definitively this fellow is no longer alive. The chsiv koil asher nishmas ruach chaim ba'apav. Nostrils, the nose, the neshama, and the moyach. That's a true expression of life. That provides life for the entire body. So if he reaches that point, no signs of life, there's no point to continue further. So in short, when we speak about the Seder HaYetzira of the guf within the mother's stomach, then we have a shaila. What's primary, what's secondary? Is it the head that is primary, and the midpoint of the body is secondary, or the other way around? Two parts to the person. Shaila is, what's the ikar? What comes first? But once he's living, he has a neshama. And the question is, how do you detect a sign of life? All agree, perhaps. Ikar is in the mayach, ikar is in the neshama, ikar is in the chaytim. Kol asher nishmas ruach chayim ba'apav. So if there are no signs visible in the chaitim, all agree it's considered meis. The question is, in the case where he hadn't yet got to the moyach, got to the chaitim, and he doesn't detect anything in the heart, is that enough to determine that he must not have any life? Because the chiyus in the upper portion of the body is not being expressed in the leiv. There's nothing there. So that lack of expression indicates that there's nothing at the source. Or perhaps no. Perhaps the signs are very faint, not really discernible at that point. Continue further to the source. Maybe you'll find something there. So that's the point in Machlekes. Incidentally, poskim say that nowadays all these halachas really have to be adapted to what's happening today, the ability to resuscitate. Even when there are no vital signs. We have CPR, defibrillators, all kinds of methods used to resuscitate patients which don't exhibit any signs of life. No breathing, no pulse. In which case the halacha l'maisa is that if there's any chance of survival by any means that are available today, you have to go ahead and be Mechal Shabbos, dig him out, and attempt to revive him. Continues the Gemara. Okay, so we know Pikuach Nefesh is Derech Shabbos, and even a suffix Pikuach Nefesh Derech Shabbos. How do we know that? What's the source? Continues the Gemara. There was a story as follows: Ukvar Hoya Rabbi Shmuel. There was a story involving Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Lezer and Azariah that were traveling Mahalchem B'derech. V'Levi HaSadar, that was his name. Rabbi Shmuel Bnei Shah Lezer and Azariah, walking behind him, Mahalchem Achreim. Nish Shalosh She'eluzu with name. The following question was posed to them: Minayin the Pikuach Nefesh Derech HaShabbos. How do we know that saving one's life overrides Shabbos, and even when it's just a suffix that he might be saved, it justifies? Neder B'Shmuel V'Amar, B'Shmuel responded. Pasuk says, Ima Machteros Yimotzi Aganav. The homeowner discovers a ganav tunneling into his home. Says the Pasuk, kill him. Why? This fellow knows that nobody gives up their money easily. He's prepared for the fight. He knows the owner might confront him, might challenge him, and he's willing to kill him for his money. He's coming to kill you. What does the pasuk say? Get up and kill him first. We learn from here. Al mamen ba suffik al nefashis ba. Certainly in this case, you can't determine definitively this fellow is coming to kill. Suffik al mamen ba. Maybe he's just coming to get the money. He's coming to bluff. He doesn't really intend on killing the homeowner. If he doesn't hand over the wallet, he might drop his gun. Suffik al nefashis ba. There's a good chance that he really intends on carrying it out all the way through and killing him. That's a suffik. What does the Torah say? Go ahead and kill him. Do shvichas damim to save your life. Ushvichas damim metamis arts. Killing is so harsh. It's metam eretz Yisrael. V'gorim l'shchina shetistalk Yisrael. Chases away the shchina. And still, despite the fact that it's so severe, nitan latzil b'nafshay. Torah allows the homeowner to save himself at the expense of the attacker's life. Certainly, when it comes to saving one's life at the expense of Shabbos, you meant to do that. That's one pshat. Then Rabbi Akiva responded with another source. If one kills somebody, if he's a kohen doing the avodah, remove him from the mizbeach and punish him. We learn me'im mizbechi, when he's next to the mizbeach. If he's a kohen approaching the mizbeach, but had not yet begun the avodah, then you take him to the bezdin and kill him. But not when he's actually engaged in the avodah. You don't interrupt the avodah, you let him finish. This only pertains to killing this guilty fellow. You let him finish the avodah, you don't interrupt. Says Rashi on top, suppose this kohen who's engaged in avodah happens to possess some information that can be of help to a person who's on trial in Bezdin, about to be killed. He can go help him and save his life. In that case, afilu ma'al mizbechi, even if he's actually engaged in avodah, we interrupt the avodah to save a person's life. We call him from the avodah over to Bezdin. Let's see what you have to say to save a person's life. Okay, Oma zesh safik yesh mamash bedvarv. Now, since we find, in this case, Although, what are we dealing with? That's suffix. We don't know if yesh mamash b'dvarav. There's some validity to his argument. Suffix ein mamash b'dvarav. Perhaps his presentation won't really do much for that fellow on trial. So there's a suffix. Suffix, they might save a life. What are we going to interrupt? Avodah. Avodah on the Mizbech, which is Deiches Shabbos. V'avodah Deiches Shabbos. So be Mechaya person overrides Avodah, which overrides Shabbos. Right? Certainly, saving one's life overrides Shabbos. Again, if Lach Yosei overrides Avodah, which is superior to Shabbos, certainly saving one's life can override Shabbos as well. So that's a right. Nener Blezva Omar, he responded with another right. We know that Milah is meant to be done on Shabbos. Uma Milah, she echad mimosayim varbo shmoine ivarim sheba adam. Since Milah, which is simply coming to be masaking one of person's ivarim, one of his 248 ivarim, Deiches HaShabbos, it justifies Chilul Shabbos. Deiches HaShabbos, certainly, when it comes to saving an entire body, it's Deiches HaShabbos. Rabbi Yehuda, I have another source for this halach. Pasuk says, Es Shabsoisat Yishmoiru, watch my Shabbos. Yochel HaKoy, perhaps, under all circumstances, even at the expense of one's life. Talmud Loima, Ach. Pasuk says, Ach Es Shabsoisat Yishmoiru. We learn Ach is Chilek, Cholak. They're splitting it, separating typical from non-typical. When it's a question of a person's life, we negate the Shabbos and save a person's life. So it's limited. If it's Pekuach Nefesh, we override Shabbos. Rabbi Yehuda ben Yosef Omer, I have another pasuk. Shabbos is ki kodesh hilochem. It's kodesh to you. We learn. He mesur b'yedchem. Shabbos is given to you to take care of it. However, you're not given over to Shabbos. You make the Shabbos. You wash the Shabbos. But you're not given to Shabbos, meaning it's a question of Shabbos or a Yid's life. Koch Nefesh overrides. Reb Shimon Nasser Eimer, Pasuk says, V'shamru b'nei Yisrael HaShabbos, and continues, La says HaShabbos l'daroisam bris olam. We learn from here, Shmir Shabbos is meant to be applied in a way which will generate more Shmir Shabbos. Amra Teira Chalel Olav Shabbos Achas. However, if it's a question of Kuach Nefesh, go ahead, be Mechalel one Shabbos to enable more, to facilitate more Shmir Shabbos in the future. Kadesh Yishma Shabbos is Harbe. Let's go over to Rashi, 5 lines from the top. V'shomer Yisrael HaShabbos. Kadei Lasa Shabbos is Acheris. Yizaru b'Shabbos zu b'kiyam Shmir Shabbos is Harbe. Observe this Shabbos in a manner which will enable more Shabbos in the future. So if this person is in danger, you know what? Sacrifice this Shabbos in order to make him able to keep many more Shabbos in the future. Amar Vidamar Shmuel, Yavai Asam. Had I been there at that discussion, I would have offered my pshat. Havamina didi adifa mididu. I would have figured out my pshat is actually better, superior to their pshat. Pasuk says v'chai b'hem, v'lo shiyamas b'hem. Mitzvahs are given to provide life, life in this world, life in the next world, and not to produce misa. So if I keep in Shabbos in this case, it can generate misa. Koch Nefesh takes priority. Amar Rava, lekulu islu pircha. If you review all these sources, you'll see that there's a way to challenge every single one of them, except Barbi de Shmuel, the Leslie pircha, except for Shmuel's, which is the best. There's no way to challenge it. So now he goes down the line. There'll be Shmuel. That was the first one. You can go ahead and kill the fellow that's tunneling into your home. Brought a raya that even if it's suffik nefashos, you can go ahead and do ritzicha. Says more, perhaps it's not a suffik, it's a vadai. You know this fellow is not investing all that effort just to back off when he's challenged. He plans to go for the. This is a real threat here. Dilma Kederav, as Rav explained, the Amar Rava, my time at the Machtaras. Why is it you can kill a person that's tunneling into your home? We know with certainty that a person will not withhold from saving his money. He won't just give up his money without a fight. This Ganav knows full and well that this fellow will challenge him. He's thinking, if he challenges me, I'm out to kill him. It's not a suffix. It's a vada, he's going to kill him. Therefore the Torah says, over here, the Torah says, teaches us this halacha, if one is coming to kill you, jump on him. Kill him first. If so, yeah, when it's a vada danger, you can do it. Suffix minala. We still don't know that if it's only a suffix pikuach nefesh, it allows you to do an avera. Let's go over to Rashi, 8 lines from the top. Ein adam ma'amid atzmai milahatzlas mamayim yad ganav. A person will not stop from saving his money. V'hai ganav the as machteres made the yod the koi ba'bayis lapei. This kind of knows full and well he's going to be challenged by the owner. V'adai tadahachi asa. He's coming with that mindset. The Meimah Amar ki koi lapei katunuli. I'm going to kill him. That's not a sabah. It's a vade. See, apparently the Gemara in Amud Aleph figured, there's a chance that he might drop his gun. Maybe he's just coming to bluff. We don't know. He might actually kill the owner. It might just back away. Here the Gemara says no. He wouldn't invest that effort. He wouldn't break into the home just to turn around and leave empty-handed. He's going to kill him if he's challenged. Ve'ez safek nefashis, says Rashi. Elavada nefashis. Later amroloi kan achar shabal hargacha hashkim laharga. So pertaining to Shabbos, yeah, if it's a vade nefashis, vade pikoch nevish, b'deicha Shabbos. But how would we know regarding a suffix? There's only a slight chance of saving a person's life that justifies chil Shabbos. Then we're right from there. Continues the Gemara. The Rekiva Nami. What about the next rival, Rabbi Kiva? A kain during avodah, who has some information that could help a fellow on trial. We interrupt the avodah. Well, it's not a suffix. The Gemara is working with the premise that we don't really know if his argument will carry the day. We do know. Perhaps we'll apply Abaye's formula. Don't know Abaye is speaking about the guilty party himself. If he says, look, I have something to say for myself, to advocate on my behalf, Abaye says, look, we don't just turn him back and bring him back to Bezdin and redo the trial. Rather, Masrina le'zug Rabban, we hand him a pair of Rabbanon who will listen to what he has to say, to see whether his argument has validity. Here as well, perhaps when it comes to the Kohen, who purports to have something to say, we get a Talmud Chacham or two and we listen him out, we hear him out, and if he has something to say, in which case we know that he can save a person, it's Vadai, then we interrupt the Avodah. And therefore, V'ashkan Vadai. You can certainly conclude that if he's Vadai going to save somebody, we interrupt the Avodah, but still Safek Minala. It's a case of uncertainty. You have no raya. It would justify interrupting the avodah. And likewise, going down the list of all the psukim, v'kulu, ashkan vade, we can determine that if it's a vade b'koach nefesh, okay, it justifies. But safek minol, if it's a case of a safek, we have no raya, kibim chal Shabbos, except for Shmuel's source. U'de Shmuel vade lesle pircha, Shmuel's pasuk cannot be refuted. Why? Let's go to Rashi again. About 4 or 5 lines down. The Shmuel Esle Percha. Ashiyasa Adam HaMitzvah Sheyichi Behem. Vadai. V'chai Behem means a Yid is meant to follow Hashem's mitzvahs in a manner which will create life. Vadai life. With certainty. You don't follow the mitzvahs. Or keep away from Averis, where it can generate even a suffix of misa. Alma machal na suffix. It's pretty clear that machal Shabbos even on a suffix. You have to be vadai chai. So if there's any chance that keeping Shabbos might result in misa, you override the Shabbos. So that's a good raya. That's a solid raya. Not only vadai pekuach nefesh lecha Shabbos, even a suffix. Amar Ravina. V'itei some say it was Nachmar Yitzchak. This is the common phrase. Tava, chada, pilpata, Palta charifa. It's better to have one grain of a sharp pepper, one sharp pepper seed, mimaloid sana, rather than a full basket of curry of squash, pumpkin, melons. So quality carries the day. We have many makuras, potential sources, but don't really provide a good raya. Shmuel was considered like a little seed because he was an Amayra compared to the other Tanaim. His raya carried the day and provided the source that we're looking for. It says the Mishnah, Chatas v'asham vade mechaper. He wants to bring a chatas or an asham vade. He stole, he swore, whatever you bring an asham vade for. Mechaper, the carbon itself will do the kapara. Rashi explains, obviously he does tshuva. Otherwise he wouldn't bring a carbon. So it's the tshuva together with the carbon which generates the kapara. What does the Mishnah mean? Yom Kippur can't address this halacha. He's chayv chatas, he has to bring a chatas to get the kapara. However, misav Yom Kippurim mechaper in tshuva. Regarding other averos, on which you don't bring a chatas or asham vadei, in that case we say misa. A person's death and the traumatic experience that he undergoes then, v'yom kippurim, or alternatively Yom Kippur, mechaper in tshuva, they accomplish kapara for those averos, provided they were together with his tshuva. Continues the Mishnah, tshuva itself sometimes can address averos, lighter averos. Tshuva mechaperes al averos kalis. For instance, Allah say, if he missed the mitzvah say, tshuva can take care of that. V'alois say there as well. V'alachamuris. But on the harsher things, averos which generates chorus, misidei shemaim, tshuva is not enough. Hu toila. Toila means it lets it hang, it protects a person for the time being from Yisurim ad sheyavai Yom Kippurim yichaper, until Yom Kippur comes along and atones for it. Says the Mishnah, Omer echta v'ashav. Echta v'ashav. One has an attitude. You know what? There's something called tshuva, right? I'll do an aver, I'll do tshuva. I'll do an aver, I'll do tshuva. And we're speaking that he can resist the aver, but he's relying on the tshuva as a backup. Ein maspiken b'yodei lasses tshuva. Sure, if he pushes, he does tshuva, okay, but Shemaim, they won't enable him, they won't help him, they won't provide that siyata d'shmaya for him to get the tshuva. Likewise, if he says, Echta, I'll sin, Yom Kippur mechaper. Don't worry, Yom Kippur will take care of it. In that case, Ein Yom Kippur mechaper. Yom Kippur will not address this aver. Rashi on that Pezayin explains, Ma'acha she'olavu soymech lachta in a mechaper. Since he's using Yom Kippur as a means to do a chet, you can't have that same Yom Kippur generate kapara. Averos sheben adam lamakim. Yom Kippur mechaper. Averos which are pertaining to between a person and Hashem, Yom Kippur addresses. However, averos sheben adam chaveroi, pertaining to interpersonal relationship, ein Yom Kippur mechaper. Yom Kippur can't address that achiratzis chaver until he appeases his friend. Apparently, Hashem needs to be mechaper even for that. There are two aspects to be done mechaver. There's the personal offense that needs ritzui from that person, but there's a kapara from Hashem. Says the Mishnah, he won't get a true kapara even from Hashem until he's marates chaveroi, as the Mishnah says, Dorash was a Nazaryo, mikol chateisechem lefnei Hashem titaru. You'll be purified on Yom Kippur from all your averos pertaining to your relationship with Hashem. Averos sheben adam la'amokai Yom Kippur mechaper. However, averos sheben adam chaveroi ein Yom Kippur mechaper ad shiratzas chaver, until you ask forgiveness of your friend. Amar Bakiva Ashreichem Yisrael. Lucky are you, call Yisrael. Take a look. Lifnei mi atem metarim. When you do tshuva, when you become tar, before who? Who are you connecting to? Who are you reconnecting with when you do tshuva? Umi metar eschem. And who is the one that brings about that tahara? Same answer for both questions. Avichem, your father, Shebashamayim. Shinamar. V'zerakti alechem ma'im torim metahartim. Hashem is the one that sprinkles that ma'im torim, which means He motivates us, He inspires us to come back to Him to do tshuva. V'omer, mikveh Yisrael Hashem. Hashem is equated to a mikveh. Ma mikveh mitaris atzmeim. Just as a mikveh is mitar tamei, who immerses in the mikveh. Afa kadosh baruch hu. Mitaris Yisrael. Connect back to Hashem. That brings about tahara for Yisrael. The Mishnah says, Achatas and Asham Vadai are Machaper. Asham Vadai in, only an Asham Vadai. Asham Tali Loi. What about Asham Tali? He ate something which is a suffix. If it's chaylev or not, a suffix regarding a avera which carries kares. He has to bring an Asham Tali, which is a temporary stage, until he finds out what happens. And eventually, if he finds out it was an Isser, he brings a Chatas. Which just seems to indicate that only an Asham Vadai, which is brought, for instance, if he had a Gzela and he swore, etc., many cases of Asham Vadai, only that accomplishes Kapara. But not an Asham Tali. It doesn't accomplish Kapara. Asham Tali Loi? How can that be? The Pasuk clearly says that even Asham Tali accomplishes some sort of Kapara. Rashi brings the Pasuk, V'chipar olav hakoyin al sheid gasa sheshagag. As the Gemara, there still is a difference between Asham Vadai and Asham Tali. Hanach machapri Kapara Gemura. You see, Achatas and Asham Vadai generate a true, complete Kapara. There's nothing afterwards. However, Asham Tali ain't a machaper Kapara Gemura. Asham Tali is a temporary solution. It's not a full Kapara. Rashi says it's toila to protect him from Yisurim until he figures out what happened, and it brings a Chatas. That's one difference. It's not a complete Kapara. Inami, another pshat. Hanach Chatas and Asham Vadai ein acher mekaber kabrasam. There's nothing else that could accomplish that same Kapara. You bring the carbon, you have a Kapara, otherwise you don't. However, Asham Tali, that's different. Acher mekaber kabrasam. There's something else that can achieve the same results. This nan. Chayav v'chatoras v'ashamis. Vadoin. If one is obligated to bring a chatos or asham vadai, and then if Kippur comes along, he's still chayiv. She'avar leim Kippurim chayavin. However, if he's chayiv to bring the asham toli, and then he meets Yom Kippur, he no longer brings that asham. Ashamis lo yim p'turim. So the Mishnah spoke about chatos v'asham vadai machapern, and left out asham toli. It's because of these two reasons. Chatos v'asham vadai complete the kapara, as opposed to asham toli, which is a temporary measure. Chatas v'asham vadai need to be brought, even if he already experienced Yom Kippur. Asham Tali does not. The Mishnah continued that on account of Averis Chamurais, Misa Yom Kippurim, take care of it. Mechapern im hatshuva, suppose they're accompanied by tshuva. Im hatshuva in, only with tshuva. Yom Kippur can only work with tshuva, but independently. Without tshuva they don't work. Name it like a Rabbi. Apparently, we're not following Rabbi who disagrees. He holds that Yom Kippur could offer somewhat of a kapara, even without tshuva. The Sanya, Rabbi Eimer, Akol Aver Shabbatayra, regarding all Averis, Bein Asa Tshuva, Bein Asa Tshuva, whether he did or did not do tshuva, Yom Kippur Machap. The day has such a profound effect on the Yid. It draws him closer to Hashem, irrelevant of whether or not he did tshuva. There are three exceptions. Chutz and parak oil, except if a person denies the existence of Hashem. Umegal upon Torah, he misconstrues the Torah. Umeik for bris basar, refuses to have a bris. When it comes to these, it depends whether or not he did tshuva. Shem also tshuva, Yom Kippur mechaper. He must have tshuva, but if he refuses to do tshuva on these three things, ein Yom Kippur mechaper. But typically, Yom Kippur works independent of tshuva. Whereas our Mishnah seems to say Yom Kippur needs tshuva. Afilu Temi Rabbi. Our Mishnah could be following Rabbi as well. The Mishnah never meant Yom Kippur needs tshuva. The other way around. Tshuva is not sufficient. Tshuva by Yom Kippurim. Yom Kippurim lo by tshuva. See, the Mishnah says Misa and Yom Kippur machaper it with tshuva. What does that mean? That even though he did tshuva, he still needs Yom Kippur. Tshuva by Yom Kippurim. But if he hadn't done tshuva and he experienced Yom Kippur, that in itself can address his aver. Yom Kippurim loy by tshuva. So in summary, how does one get kapara on the following things? Essay v'lois essay, tshuva is enough. Kares amisivei shemayim, that's addressed by a person's death, or Yom Kippur, and according to Rabbanon, provided it's accompanied by tshuva. By Achatas and Asham Vadai, you need to bring a carbon. By Asham Tali, either the carbon or Yom Kippur. And we learned that regarding Bidad Mechaver issues, nothing happens until his Meratza is Chaver. Okay, time for a brief Chazara. Shmuel tells us that when it comes to Pekuach Nefesh, Ein Hoilchen Acharoiv, even if there's a small chance that Yisrael is in trouble, you have to proceed even on Shabbos. You had a case of a city where you found an abandoned child, Matzah Bat Tinoik Mushlach. Look as follows. If it's Roiv Kutim in town, we assume he's a Kuti, you can feed him in a Vela. If it's Mechza, you have to assume that he's Yisrael pertaining to what? Pertaining to Nezakim. That if his shur damaged the shur of Yisrael, he can claim that he's a Yisrael. He only has to pay Chatzi Nezek rather than Nezek Shalem if he were to be a non-Yisrael. If in the town we have Roiv Yisrael, we assume that this baby is a Yisrael definitively. A Mechayiv to be Machzor Zaved. In all cases, we do Pekuach Nefesh on Shabbos. Regarding sustaining and supporting him on a regular basis, according to Shmuel, in all cases the answer is yes. According to Rav, only when it's Roiv Yisrael. So if a building collapses, and there's even a triple suffix regarding the presence of a Yid, we don't know if there's somebody there, whether he's alive, whether he's even a Yisrael to begin with, and even the Chai Shah. Even if we know he'll only live for a short while. We had a shayla regarding the order of formation of that fetus. Miroishai or Mitiburai. The Gemara says perhaps regarding Chiyus, all agree Iker Chiyus is by his head and expressed in the Chotem, as the pasuk says, Kol Asher Nishmas Ruach Chaim Be'apov. We learned that Pekuach Nefesh is doich all the mitzvahs. And even Saveh Pekuach Nefesh doich Shabbos. The conclusion was, the best right for that is Shmuel's pasuk v'chai b'hem v'lo shyamas b'hem, as Rashi says, do the mitzvahs in a manner which will produce life with certainty. There's even a suffix that Shabbos might interfere with a Yid's life. As we learned the other day, the nefesh of a Yisrael is chavev to Hashem more than all the mitzvahs in the world. We concluded with the Mishnah describing various kaparis. So Eseh v'lo say addressed by tshuva, Koros and Misa addressed either by death or Yom Kippurim. When you need a chatas v'asham vade, you have to bring that carbon. We learned a chiddush. If one is chayv and asham toli, Yom Kippurim could address that. And averish b'ram l'chaveroi, you need to appease your friend. And we concluded in the Mishnah, Ma mikveh mitaris atmeim, afakadosh baruch hu, mitaris Yisrael. Kol tov to and hatzlach.